what do you mean by source energy medicine, first of all?
Source energy medicine is a holistic self-healing methodology that utilizes water and specially designed charging labels.
Kind of reminds me, it sounds like, to a certain extent, because we just had the Dr. Emoto here in Toronto a few weeks ago. It sounds like, he would put the labels on water and was able to demonstrate with photography that it actually changed the structure of the water depending on what those labels were. Is this related, or is it an advancement on that technology or that system?
Yeah, in the early days of source energy medicine, without Dr. Emoto's research, it would have been challenging to explain to a person that we could take water and do anything to it, let alone turn it into a remedy that would have a positive benefit to our health or well-being. So Dr. Emoto's research clearly illustrates that water can be influenced positively and negatively, and actually holds the vibrational structure of whatever is influencing it. And we had, about 7 years ago or so, we sent several of our remedies to Dr. Emoto's lab in Tokyo and had them analyzed, had them frozen and photographed. And each of the remedies creates a beautiful hexagonally shaped center crystal, and then the outside of the crystals, each one is different and absolutely beautiful.
Wow. So Nadia, I'm just curious. So that's almost like proof of certainly some effect of these labels on the water.
Yeah.
And do you have that? I'd love to see that on the website or something like that.
Here's the, I can show them to you, and we could likely show them to your audience, but in all due respect to Dr. Emoto and his organization, if we wanted to use them commercially, the licensing fees are beyond our budget at the moment.
Okay, fair enough.
I do show them at workshops, but even just to have them frozen and photographed was a significant investment for us. But you're right. I mean, in the beginning, we started in 2004, and What the Bleep Do We Know was popular then, and I got so literally just beat down and tired of people asking, have you ever had your remedies photographed at Dr. Emoto's lab? So we pretty much emptied the bank account, because people wanted some sort of, science doesn't talk about proof very much, and yet people want proof. Science talks about strong evidence towards, and that's the other interesting thing. Dr. Emoto's work is technically not scientifically credible, but we do have scientifically credible testing of our remedies that shows that we haven't yet had the opportunity to have every single remedy that we make tested. It's an instrument called Raman spectroscopy, and it's used in material science labs around the world, and it's completely credible. And it actually shows that each of our remedies that we had tested, and I believe we had 7 or 8 tested, each one, the hydrogen and oxygen molecules are actually structured, clustered, and arranged differently in each of those different samples. And yet each bottle was taken from the same case of spring water, sealed bottles, the same production date and code. So the lab technician said that every single one of those samples should be exactly the same. You got a characteristic curve. I can share that to you too, and I don't know if you have a way of uploading stills to the
we
program.
could, sure.
The story is transmitting the information to the charging labels. The charging labels is communicating to the water. The water has to see the charging label, and we're communicating a language that water understands. And that's why when we look at the Raman spectroscopy testing, the water molecules are actually structured and clustered and arranged differently in each of those 7 samples that we sent to this lab. And if we weren't able to do that, the characteristic curve would be exactly the same, because all of the molecules would be exactly the same.
So these were 7 different remedies, each with its own unique signature.
Exactly.